What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video I want to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla versus Watch Dogs. Which of these two games would you buy? Now, a few days ago, I actually made this a poll on Podcast Now, and it got pretty good reception. And I thought, you know what? Besides a poll, I love talking. I love talking for these videos. Let's have it be a video. So that's what we're going to do right now. Is we're going to kind of take that poll. We're going to take kind of the response of that poll, but also include extra things and bring it out to you guys in a video form where you guys are able to comment, and talk to each other as well. So this is something that I think Ubisoft has done to themselves, right? Having Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed now coming out roughly 3 weeks apart. Okay, Watch Dogs comes out October 29th. Assassin's Creed Valhalla comes out November 17th. So very, very close to each other. Games that, no, they are not the exact same game, right? We've talked about that in videos I've made of the two, but they are similar. They're definitely similar. They have a familiar vibe to them. You can make the argument that a lot of Ubisoft games kind of feel very familiar to other Ubisoft games, right? But these are games that I feel like are going to hurt each other. People obviously brought up like, hey, Cyberpunk could absolutely hurt Assassin's Creed as well, and I think it could. But out of these two games, well, what's the situation? Which one would you get? Now, again, in the poll is actually going Assassin's Creed going in its favor, which I did think was going to happen. I figured Assassin's Creed would win a poll. I think Assassin's Creed, of the two, is just a more popular game. That's why ultimately, when I've talked about which of these two would hurt each other, I think Assassin's Creed hurts Watch Dogs. I don't think Watch Dogs hurts Assassin's Creed. Now, yes, you could. I never did bring up Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk absolutely, I think, will probably hurt Assassin's Creed at least a little. But again, I didn't bring it up just because it's not Ubisoft. I was just talking about those two games. So the poll isn't all that surprising. Now, I know people had said you didn't say neither and you didn't say both. Well, that's fair. I mean, the point I was trying to get people was to try and pick one or the other. But I get that neither is also a viable option, and that's a question for you guys in this video. Look, we got more gameplay of these games. Assassin's Creed, obviously, we finally saw it, right? We really didn't see next to anything of the actual game before Ubisoft Forward. Watch Dogs, we did. We've seen basically, what's funny with Watch Dogs, and I did say this in the Watch Dogs video yesterday, I liked it. I like the gameplay we've seen of it. I'm sold on it. I'm getting it day one. I'm ready to go. However, I will say this, they basically did the exact same thing they did last year at E3. They did it again. They showed basically a mission and how you can tackle it from different perspectives. Now, I think they overall showed more. They showed basically that there's more classes. They kind of put more stock into, no, really, all these characters are unique. Now, I still don't necessarily believe them when they say literally you can play as all of these different people and all of them are going to be very different from each other. Ultimately, I don't think that's going to end up happening. I can definitely be wrong, and by the way, I want to be wrong. That's my biggest concern. That's actually, with Watch Dogs, that's kind of my only concern. At least that's my biggest concern, is that I don't necessarily believe them that everybody's unique. Okay, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong to think anyway, but I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold on Watch Dogs. I think visually, it doesn't look incredible. In fact, when we saw the trailer for it, I saw somebody that said, like, The Last of Us Part 2 looks better than, like, every game shown at Ubisoft Forward. And I wouldn't disagree. I think it kind of is all where you put your expectations. Far Cry, well, firstly, it's a CG trailer, so it was harder to kind of, it's harder to judge it. We don't necessarily know how the game looks. The screenshots of the game look phenomenal, but the screenshots, I think, of any game in 4K, you should be able to make it phenomenal, right? So I'll give them that, and I will give them, by the way, that The Last of Us Part 2 does absolutely look better than Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, like anything that we saw at Ubisoft Forward, it looks better than. But the point that I'm trying, and by the way, I'm not saying that's a good thing, I'm not saying that's bad, I'm not going to like criticize you if you think one way or the other. My main point is, I agree. I think also, though, it just depends on what your expectations are set. I think that's why a lot of people, right, we had the video I talked about if Assassin's Creed gameplay was disappointing. It's all about where you put your expectations. For Watch Dogs, honestly, my expectations aren't very high. It's just give me the game. I trust them to some extent. I know that the game will probably be fun. That's kind of just all I'm buying. I'm not buying it for like a really sophisticated story. I'm not buying it because it's going to be one of the best looking games or even best looking open world game out there. No, I'm buying it because it's fun. I like hacking things. I like the idea of being able to play as all of these different people. That's why I'm getting the game. So when I saw the gameplay, again, it doesn't look all that great. Okay, the visuals of Watch Dogs doesn't look all that great. But again, does that matter? So so by the way, my answer to this, if I had to choose one, I may may actually have to choose Watch Dogs. Now, again, I mean, this is all hypothetical. I'm going to be buying both of these day one. But if I had to choose, I can only get one of these. It would be a tough call. It would honestly be a tough call. Watch Dogs, honestly, does kind of call to me. What I'll say about Assassin's Creed is this, because I don't want to be too hard on it. That may make people mad right there that I don't want to be too hard on it. But I like Assassin's Creed. I like the direction they took for Origins and Odyssey. There is definitely a part of me that you kind of like misses the Ezio and really actually pretty much anything before Origins, right? That they changed the game style. They changed how Assassin's Creed is. Assassin's Creed right now is absolutely not what it was back then. Okay, now you could say, is it better right now than it was back then? Was it better then than it is now? I think, you can kind of go half and half. I think a lot of things are better in Assassin's Creed right now than they ever were. And I also think a lot of things were better back then than they are right now. Okay, so I do agree with the people that say, I miss the old Assassin's Creed. With that being said, I like a lot of what we gotten with Origins and Odyssey. It's just obviously not what people, were expecting after what we had gotten from Assassin's Creed. But the idea of Assassin's Creed was always to move it and have to change it because it got so repetitive, it got so stale. People really started to revolt against it. Hence, what happened with Unity. Obviously, Unity had a lot more problems than just that. But even like Syndicate, nobody played Syndicate. Syndicate is actually, I think, the lowest selling Assassin's Creed game of like the last, quite a few of them. So Syndicate really, really didn't do good, and it's mainly because people just literally stopped playing Assassin's Creed. So they had to do something. Now, what I'll say again with Valhalla is it definitely is not the step up. So when we talk about, Watch Dogs versus Assassin's Creed, it is definitely tough because Watch Dogs, when we see the gameplay for Watch Dogs, okay, I kind of put myself back into 2019 for some reason, and mainly it's because that's when the game was supposed to come out, right? November of 2019. It does, especially look-wise, visually, it does look like a game that was supposed to come out a few years ago. Assassin's Creed, again, it's all where you put expectations. Assassin's Creed, I think a lot of people, including myself, I'll be honest, kind of, again, I said this in the Assassin's Creed video, put on it that this was going to be one of those like next-gen games. Like, oh man, next-gen is really going to help this game. Maybe this game was kind of made partially for next-gen. And ultimately, what it seems to, I mean, at least to my eyes, now this could be proven completely wrong later, but at least to me, it does not seem like this game was made for next-gen. It very much seems like this is not the massive. It does look like it's probably a step up, and it probably will be. I mean, the raids, all those different, like, when you have like your army and you're attacking, all that kind of stuff, and really just in general what they're doing with the game, it's definitely expanding upon it. I know people say like it could just be DLC for Odyssey or DLC for like The Witcher 3. I get that. It does look like a marginal step up from Assassin's Creed Odyssey to right now, okay? But again, I think people had expected it to be just this enormous thing when in reality, and I did know this as well, games that are made only for next gen, games that are really going to take advantage of it, that you're going to be like, oh my god, wow, like this is a game that's just incredible. Those games aren't coming yet, okay? Maybe the first game, honestly, would probably be like Horizon Forbidden West, actually, sorry. That would probably be the first one, Sony exclusive, made only for PS5. That's the first one. Honestly, even like Spider-Man Miles Morales, I think will look and feel a lot like just Spider-Man 2018. I think Halo Infinite, because it's going to be running on Xbox One as well as Series X, I don't think that will look like as incredible as it probably could if it was just made for Series X. So I really think, again, it's going to take another year and a half, 2 years until we see games that are coming out, next fall, let's say, fall of 2021. Those are going to be the games where like, oh, okay, from the beginning, they had next gen in mind when they were making this game. I think a lot of people, again, including myself, had not even were expecting it, but were hoping that Assassin's Creed could be that game where it's like, okay, these games always kind of seem like they're going to be ambitious. They always seem like they're going to really take that next step. Can they do it? Or can this game really be a massive step up? It's going to be launching, around the same time as next gen. Is that really going to help it? And honestly, from what we saw of the gameplay, it doesn't look like it. Again, I'm not bagging on it. I'm not saying I hated the gameplay. I said that even in the video talking about the gameplay. I think it looks solid. I'm getting the game day one. I'm still excited to play the game. It just is definitely not. It's a disappointment. It's not like I'm angry. I'm not mad. I'm not going to not get the game, but I'm disappointed that it's not the leap that I wanted, and I get that it's also not the leap that a lot of other people wanted as well, right? So I do think because of that, it probably hurts. To be quite honest with you, I think when both these games come out, Assassin's Creed will probably be the better game. Okay, Watch Dogs, I like what they're doing. Trust me, go back and watch the videos I've made of Watch Dogs. I really like what they're doing. I have a lot. I want the game to be good. Okay, I really want this game to be good. But at the end of the day, Watch Dogs, literally, both of the two, I mean, there's only been 2 others, but both of them have let me down big time. Okay, I liked Watch Dogs 2, actually, but I really wanted, I mean, it just didn't, I don't know, it didn't do enough for me. Same thing with Watch Dogs 1, was just a complete failure in my mind. So Watch Dogs has never lived up to the potential that I think it could in terms of the Watch Dogs universe, in terms of what I put on it. So I feel like when these games come out, Assassin's Creed may end up being better simply because it's kind of like Odyssey, like 1.5, you know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see. I want both these games to be great. I'm getting both these games day one. Again, if you had to ask me which game I think could be the better one when it comes out, I think Assassin's Creed has the more, like, it's more likely. At the same time, Watch Dogs being better would not surprise me, because I do think if all of this stuff works, where you really can tackle these things with all these different people, if they can just make a, I don't know, even like a mediocre story, because I think the stories of Watch Dogs are always terrible, if they can just make an average to slightly below average, that's still better than, in my opinion, than what they've done in the past, I think they could actually nail it. So, and what's interesting, again, is I think Assassin's Creed will probably be the better game. I still think if you had to ask me which one would you get, if you only could get one, I may roll the dice. I honestly would maybe roll the dice and give Watch Dogs a chance, mainly because I think Watch Dogs has the potential to be better, has a higher, basically, Watch Dogs has a higher ceiling, whereas I don't think Assassin's Creed has. I think Assassin's Creed has kind of limited itself by accident, right? And we didn't really expect that. I would say almost like 3, 4, 5 days ago, we didn't expect Assassin's Creed to have such a low ceiling. And again, I think when we talk about floor, so if you guys know what floors and ceilings are, right, when we talk about that kind of stuff, Assassin's Creed, I think, has a higher floor, where the worst it can be, I think, is going to be better than the worst Watch Dogs could be. If Watch Dogs is bad, I think it can be really bad, and it's going to make me very, very upset, whereas I don't really think Assassin's Creed can be considered all that bad. I think it could be considered disappointing and not the improvement we wanted, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be, like, awful, right? So, guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? How would you compare these 2 games? Which one of these 2 games are you getting? Which of these games do you think is going to be the best game when it comes out? Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And obviously, these are 2 very, very popular games. I'm going to be continuing to talk about them throughout the summer into when both of these games release. We'll be having loads of videos on the channel on both of these games, okay? Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.